I just left the theater and I've been waiting to feel this way about a film all year. Let me tell you something. The Long Walk is amazing. Let's talk about it. All year I've been waiting on a film to just impact me on an emotional level, something that I can think about when I leave the theater. And although a very simple concept, not even crazy action or suspense, The Long Walk has accomplished that. Now, this film follows a very high stakes competition where young men volunteer to continuously walk. And I don't mean just walking to the store. I mean walk. They walk night and day, rain and heat, exhaustion and diarrhea. And they must walk until there is only one left. And the consequences for stopping or even walking too slow is death. These young men walk for hundreds of miles, hoping to gain the cash prize and have their one wish granted. There hasn't been a film this year that's been able to tug on my heartstrings the way that this film did. And if I went to watch it by myself, I am going to be honest, I would have been crying. At first glance, I did fear that the movie would become stagnant or boring just because they were literally walking the whole movie. It's not a metaphor, it's a literal long walk. But they do a good job of keeping things fresh. It is a inspiring journey of friendship and brotherhood. It's the bond that they form the longer they walk that keeps them going. It's the support of each other that they rely on. And being outside of that brotherhood honestly feels lonely. And even though they give each other life, they benefit from each other dying. And it's in those moments, each time the gun sounds, that the sad reality sets back in that only one of them can win. The more they walk, the more they bond. The more they bond, the harder each death gets. I don't know what's worse, the people who choose to spectate it, or the fact that these young men chose to do this. It's because that their reality on the outside wasn't that much better. It makes you wonder what led to a world where something like this could become a spectacle, and we see through the eyes of these young men living in this dystopian world where they truly felt like they didn't have much of a choice.
What was the most chilling, real thing about this world to each of you?
How brutal it is. It's almost like, you know what I mean, the story, because it's like we all walk into this, right? They sign up, or so they say. I don't think they sign up. I think they're conditioned socially to sign up for it, which it's not really a choice, but that's another thing.
To me, it felt like the connection to today's society was us normal people running the rat race. How the glamour of social media and other people's lives, like the walk, is supposed to inspire us. And we're told to just endure, to just keep going, walk it off. And if we continue and don't give up, we will achieve wealth and the things that we are wishing for. But when money is the only thing that we pursue in life, it comes at a cost. Not only do we lose the people we start the race with, but we sacrifice the thing that we care about. We sacrifice our well-being and health. Sometimes we forget that the journey is what molds us. It's what shapes us into the people that we are. And it's the connections, the friendships that we build along the way that fuels us. In this life, it's no guarantee that you'll experience wealth. It's not even a guarantee that you'll have happiness. It's the people next to us experiencing the same highs and lows that let us know that we're not in this alone. Happiness isn't something that you become. And even though we're all bound to the same fate of dying one day, it's the moments that make it worthwhile.
As the Major describes, the Long Walk competition was created to encourage and inspire citizens across America to work harder towards the life they dream of, as they watch 50 boys put their lives on the line for everything they've ever wanted. And of course, this entire competition is only built to create the illusion of hope, success, and choice. The film addresses this concept when we hear Garrity describe this idea of a tunnel to a better life. He suggests that if you grow up in a system where life is completely unpleasant and unsafe, and the voices of authority told you there's one little tunnel that you need to go through for a safer, more successful life, everyone would make the decision to go through that tunnel. And he goes on to describe that setting up a world like that is simply a method to get us to do what they want us to do and go where they want us to go, while making us feel like it was all our choice. And this analogy runs parallel to the competition itself. Every boy has entered into this competition with a 98% chance that they will die, and only a 2% chance that they will survive and win the cash prize. By these odds, we as the audience can assume how brutal and grim life must be outside of the competition for them to actually volunteer to participate in this competition. So really, as Garrity describes, it isn't much of a choice at all. It's all a manipulative mirage the system puts in front of people to motivate them to work harder and follow the rules, selling a false dream to both the contestants and the audience.
Now, obviously, they have their differences, but this movie felt similar to The Hunger Games, and I know the book was written before The Hunger Games was written, but they're both set in a poor dystopian world full of civilians who want change for a better life, and a government who is making a spectacle of their misfortunes. Now, the ending comes down to the final stretch of the two best buds, Ray and Peter, and on my end, it felt like Peter was probably going to be the one who was going to make the sacrifice. Or at least like in Hunger Games, when it came down to one having to go, they would both choose to make the sacrifice. There was either going to be both of them winning or no one.
3.
Stop! Stop! Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the winners of the 74th Annual Hunger Games.
But Ray eventually makes the sacrifice, leaving Peter as the winner. Now, Ray's sacrifice was an interesting one for me, because before this, in the beginning of the movie, as Ray is leaving, he is, of course, being opposed by his mom not to do this. And as he gets out of the car and walks away, his mom at first seeming like she was going to let it go, but then ambushes him with a final hug full of tears down her eyes. And as he begins the contest and is walking in his hometown, he sees his mother and at first just waves, but then starts to realize the conversation that he had with Peter, that his dad's sacrifice may have been selfish. And as he is walking by with at first just a wave, he runs back to ask for forgiveness with tears in his eyes. And we fast forward back to the ending where Ray is choosing to sacrifice himself to allow Peter to win. And he does the same decision that his father did, ultimately leaving his mother heartbroken again in the fight for a better cause. Now, you could easily argue that Ray's decision may have been less selfish than his dad, but the impact of it was just as grand. So it continues with Peter's wish being granted, and him choosing to kill the Major, getting it back in blood for Ray's lineage, and it ends there. There was no shouting or other gunshots from the soldiers around, so it's assumed that he gets to walk off in the night. He won. He got revenge for Ray, and hopefully a change will come. He gains at the cost of losing so much along the way. He literally became the thing that set him apart from Ray. But it's why Ray chose to sacrifice himself, because of Peter's light and positivity. Peter was able to see things the way that Ray couldn't, and that's it. That is the end of the film. I would have loved if they would have shown, maybe after the credits, just a quick glimpse into the future to see if he made the right decision or just the outcome of it, but I think they leave it open for the viewer's discretion. Do you believe that his decision was the right one, choosing to get his hands dirty in a attempt for change that could start a rebellion? I think that it is interesting that the Major, someone viewed with power, status, and freedom, died the exact same way that these boys who were seeking freedom died. I think it shows that you don't just become free. Freedom is something that you have to choose.